Welcome to Hip Hop Movie Club, where three old heads put their old heads together to vibe on some of the most memorable or forgettable hip hop themed movies of all time. And here's HHMC with your HHMCs, Boogie, JB, and Dino Wright. Season 2, Episode 4, Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. It was released in 1996, directed by Barclay and written by Shawn Wayans, Marlon Wayans, and Phil Bowman. And it stars Shawn Wayans, Marlon Wayans, and Keenan Ivory Wayans, and a cast of thousands.
Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood is a parody of several hood films like Boys in the Hood, South Central, Menace to Society, Higher Learning, Juice, and others. We follow Ashtray, or Trey, as he returns to his hood to meet his father, who happens to be just a year or so older than him. Needless to say, crazy hijinks ensue with a wild cast of characters.
It's such a funny movie.
I'm just laughing because I'm picturing some of the scenes in my head.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is like jaw-droppingly funny. Like, scene after scene, you're shaking your head like, wait, did he just do that? Did he just say that? It's just so outlandish. It just cracks you up. It's my type of movie because I just like silly slapstick stuff. And, you know, it's funny because they do a parody of, you know, gang violence and stuff like that. And at first, like opening scene, you're like, ooh, you know, I don't like to see the shooting and whatnot. But if you take yourself out of that and just say, this is just pure nonsense, total chaos and craziness, it is just laughter, you know, laugh after laugh. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this movie, it has like so many Easter eggs and so many references to movies with such serious undertones. Like I know that when we talked about Friday, and I said that one of the things that I loved about the Friday film was the fact that it took the South Central Los Angeles, Compton area setting of movies and put a hilarious spin on it. And this movie just upped the ante. Like it's outrageously funny. Like you said, it's the slapstick scenes that go on throughout the movie and just the different things that they encounter and just how they take such serious scenarios such as gang violence and, you know, unwanted pregnancies and just even smoking weed. The things that they take these serious subject matter and just make so much fun of it. It's just, if you can't laugh at that movie, something is seriously wrong with you. I can't even say it without laughing. Oh man,
They really pack so much into this, and it's like these movies like Airplane or you know, it's these Mel Brooks movies that you just have to watch a few times just to absorb all the jokes and references that they make. It's so fun.
Right, I read a review that said, you know, Mel Brooks would be proud of the way they took the spoofing seriously and the parody. What, like, true, you know, they really researched all the different characters and knew the characters from all those movies, and they emulated them, and so many different ones all amalgamated into this one. Well, it was impressive, actually.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it was definitely impressive how they were able to do this. I mean, you're right. They definitely did their homework. The movies that they referenced, and they look at the scenes from this movie, it plays out almost exactly the same, except they'll exaggerate, you know, the outcome or a couple of things in it that'll just have you cracking up. but the way they did it is genius. You might Mel Brooks will be proud.
It's a good way to put it. They exaggerated it. It's almost like a caricature of each of those characters. They totally, you know how when you see a caricature, the head is all big and distorted, or you're like, if you have slightly larger ears, you know, that jumps off the page. Like, they totally exacerbated everything, and it works. And it was just hysterical. I mean, just the look of the characters, like Loke Dog, played by Shawn Wayans. I mean, his hair with the braids spiked out, the pacifier in the one and dice in the other, and he drives a mail truck and mostly lives in there and keeps his arsenal of crazy amount of guns and weapons and nuclear warfare. It's just ridiculous.
Oh man, one of my favorite scenes. Do we have a problem?
He's putting the missile at him, yeah.
An old Soviet missile.
Yeah, like USSR. That's nuts.
Oh man.
And we had to talk about all the characters themselves. If you just go down, it's just like, wow. Like,
yeah, let's hit the characters.
Trey's dad.
Trey's dad.
So it's funny because they mix up a little bit. They said he's only like a year or two older than me, but there are some insinuations that he's actually younger than me because he's like changed his diaper or he's too young to get into this party and stuff like that. And that was just ridiculous. That was just so funny that they were so close in age. And when he first meets him, the dad makes him pay $13 for like, shaving lines into his head, which he wrote "kick me," and he's always giving him the worst possible advice.
Yeah, he's like the opposite.
Yeah, like drinking and driving. He's like, "Oh yeah, have a 40 and then go out there and shut your lights off and have a good time." It's like, what? and then like, never use a condom. It's like, it's like the worst possible advice. Stay on welfare, if that's free money, it's just like, years and years, don't get a job with a white man. It's just like,
yeah,
man, it was so funny.
Oh man,
it's funny. And they, especially his dad, the Lamar Tate, who plays his dad,
yes,
the brother of Lorenz Tate, who played O-Dog from Menace to Society. And there's all sorts of like, they brought over a bunch of people from those movies from Menace to Society and Juice especially.
Yep.
Like the exact same actor in different in both roles in both movies. Like it just makes it, like you said, like it's the same exact scene, but they exaggerate it, and like having the same person play the same role in this spoof just makes it so much funnier.
Yeah.
I started writing down each of the ones that, oh yeah, he was in that movie and he was in that movie because on your suggestion, Boogie, I watched Menace to Society and Juice before watching this movie, and it does make it so much more funny because like it just takes it and Funhouse mirrors it.
Yeah,
like line for line sometimes.
Yeah, like you said, the one character, I can't think of his name right now. I should have put it in my notes, but he was in Menace to Society, and he actually ended up approaching the characters in Menace to Society, and they jumped him.
It's Sam. Yeah. It's the exact same actor.
Exact same actor, and when they ended up jumping him and stopping him, and then you look at the ground, he's flat on the ground.
He's flat on the ground, and then later in his car, he's like Flat Sam in the back seat.
And his real name was Samuel Monroe Jr. Sam, right?
Yes. Oh my God.
Omar Epps has a small role, and the same role he was in Higher Learning as he goes off to college.
The same clothes.
Yeah. Like I said, they did their homework.
Oh man.
That was wild.
The same actor, the same Korean grocery owner is the same in Menace to Society in this movie.
Hurry up and buy.
She's haunting him in the ice chest and stuff.
Yeah.
She's like somersaults through the background.
Yeah.
They do the detective. It's not the same actor, but like it's basically like a body double. Bill Duke from Menace to Society in this movie, and then they have the same guy from Juice who tells GQ that he's the juice.
You got the juice now.
He's got the juice now, but now Grandma got the juice in this movie. Mitchell Marchand.
Grandma was amazing. She stole the movie from me. Helen Martin.
Yes.
You know her from many, many movies and TV shows. She was the noisy neighbor at 227. She was in a couple of these movies that we talked about, and she's smoking this joints, she's cursing, fighting, shooting, and she saves the day at the end as well. coming out and shooting.
Yeah. I love her. She's riding in her car. She's got the hydraulics going up and down.
Yes.
She's riding by hey, what up, Grandma? Oh, and the scene, my favorite scene with her is the dance battle in church.
Yes.
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 Trying to one up the other one, and they end up having a dance battle.
Yep.
I remember the first time I saw that scene on tape, I played that scene back and forth so many times. Like, oh, rewind it back and just laugh. Rewind it back and just laugh. I spent plenty of a day in a rider, like laughing at that movie with some people in a room.
Yeah, it's just a hangout movie. You can just put on the background, just like Friday. Like get your buddies, have a drink or two, and just start cracking up over this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the first scene where you see a grandma when Trey talks to her and she's challenged him to a fight. And he's like, no. And he just knocks her out. But then she gets up and and she was still calling him out, that he was weak.
Oh, man.
That was funny.
Eat the punch and then still talking afterwards.
Yeah. But you said there's so many, use the term Easter eggs. I like that. I put that in my notes as well. They're like little things in the background that you're like, what? Did that just say that? Like the stop sign at the beginning. It says, I wouldn't stop if I were you. And there's a store that looks like 7-Eleven, but it's just called 40s. And the same
40s and 9s.
40s and 9s. They changed the
or 9s and 40s.
Okay,
yeah.
Instead of St. Ides, it's like St. Dies. It's the
St.
same
Dies.
logo. It's like St. Ides malt liquor.
Mm-hmm.
And she has
and Cult 45.
Yeah.
Cult 45, CULT.
And one scene they have it in the water cooler.
Yes. I wrote that on my notes too.
Yeah. That was amazing. And then the address was 187 Drive-By Boulevard. Shiki's house was 6969 Penetration Ave or something like that. It was just it just went all out with every little nuance there.
They really didn't hold back at all.
Hold back. And they were playing that Ponopoly game.
Ponopoly, yes.
Crazy Legs. I love Crazy Legs' laugh. He just cracked me up. The high pitched laugh. You got it.
I had a dream.
Oh, that was so good. His dream was seeing MC Hammer.
Yeah, because the dream sequence with the "You Can't Touch Us," when obviously they're dancing like crazy, right? And he's paralyzed.
Oh my goodness.
There's the scene when he gets thrown off the chair, and they said, I won't be able to use my legs. And they look at each other for like a few seconds, like, you were already paralyzed. Oh man, it was crazy.
Oh man.
I think the barbecue scene was crazy. Like they got the guys with the pants fully down. You see all the boxers. You have like a naked couple.
Yeah. That was funny.
Guys, the whole thing about like pouring one out for my homies. He's literally pouring beer on the pile of
dead homies.
Like, oh my God. The Wayans brothers, they're just outrageous.
Oh my goodness.
Shout out to Keenan Ivory Wayans.
Yeah.
Funny stuff.
Comedic genius.
Yeah.
Message.
Yeah. It's so funny because I say that all the time. Like I'll make a post and I'll be like hashtag message.
I always love the Wayans brothers. They're hilarious. Like Living Color just put that whole skit comedy on the map. It started Jim Carrey's career, among many others.
Yeah.
He credits Keenan Ivory Wayans.
He absolutely does. Yeah, he definitely does.
Yeah. Well, there were so many of these ridiculous, like outrageous scenes. Dashiki has 7 kids, right? I love the line where she's like, "Oh, what do you say when we meet a nice man?" And they all shout, "Are you my daddy?"
They're like different ethnicities too.
Got a United Nations of kids.
Oh, so good.
Oh man.
Trey reading his dad an adult-themed bedtime story.
Yeah.
And then
They
they
had
did a
more
spoof.
kids than. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Also, there's a spoof on Def Comedy Jam called
Yes.
Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah.
People getting shot in it and stuff. It's crazy.
They said she had more kids than Mrs. Wayans.
Mrs. Wayans, yeah.
Oof, that's good.
Oh man.
Yeah, they even spoofed Stand By Me. There was the scene with the boys walking on the train tracks. He's like, "You want to see a dead guy?" And it was like an Elvis impersonator type guy.
Yeah, that was a double spoof.
Yeah.
Stand By Me and Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, double spoof right there. Oh man.
There was the other scene too with Loke Dog. Had that romantic interlude with the one girl early on. He had a sequence, and then the mother comes up and, and catches them, and she shows up in a dominatrix suit. And I was, he's telling his dad the story. Dad's like, "Did you get her number?" Oh, the girl? No, the mother.
Yeah.
Oh, that was crazy.
The one at the end where Keisha turns into like this monster thing. Oh man, that made me laugh so much. It's like that twist in American Pie where the Allison Hannigan character is actually crazy.
Yeah.
She's a freak.
I was reading that was actually a spoof from like a blaxploitation film from the 70s called Abby or something like that. Where that was something like that. So these guys really like they hit on everything.
Yeah.
I had to look that one up, but that's what I was reading about. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it was the dig on the cops where they were playing the Rodney King Rodney's Ride video game. I was like,
video game.
They're all crowded around them. I'm like, oh man.
That felt like a spoof of Juice also because they were playing a lot of video games in that.
Yeah. There's so many, like nobody was safe. Like they even, even the low dog driving a mail truck, that was spoofing Tupac's character in Poetic Justice.
Yeah.
Like nobody was safe. They were getting everybody.
And how about the character Preach cracked me up too, because he was like a philosopher about, the African American culture and heritage, and like, the white man's keeping down. But yeah, he had an affinity for the white girls.
That was funny.
Yeah, he was only attracted to white girls. And then like there was a scene where like the Sheiky was being threatened with the guy. He dove and he was like trying to save the blonde girl.
The blonde Baywatch lifeguard.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, that was funny.
To me, that was a spoof of Sharif from Menace to Society.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And he was like, but he was like into the white women.
Crazy.
I just the scene with Low Dog going to get a job.
Yes.
He was so inappropriate. They were just like, all right, yeah. And he's like, they passed him through the process because they were setting him up, and he's just going along with it, like doing all kinds of inappropriate stuff in the interview, and ends up getting a job as a crash test dummy.
How do you work the radio?
Yeah, that was great.
So good.
Oh man, so many funny scenes in that movie. Like you said, and like it's funny because like the more you watch it, you'll notice other stuff. Like I've seen it so many times. Like even like the last time I watched it, I was still noticing things, and I'm just like cracking. I'm like, wait a minute, I've never seen that before. How can I miss that?
It's so dense.
It's layers and layers and layers.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't seen those movies or spoofing, it's still there because I haven't seen most of those, and they're on my list, and we're going to be talking about them eventually in the podcast. But I didn't see many of those, but my face was hurt from laughing. We were talking about the scene in the church with the dance off, with the pastor singing about don't ask questions, like why does a pastor have a nice house? Why does he have such a nice car? Don't ask questions. I was dying laughing.
Classic.
Yeah.
He was kind of similar. He was almost, parallel to the Bernie Mac preacher from Friday.
Yeah.
In that mindset, they were kind of like, all right, which one is more Shifty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of Bernie Mac, he had to roll as a cop in this one, and he played the black cop that was anti-black. He's like,
Yeah, the self-hate officer has self-hatred.
Yeah. And that has actually a spoof. I think that was a cop in Boys in the Hood or something on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was Boys in the Hood. It was one of. It's funny because there's always an undertone of those cops in any of the movies. So it's like typical LAPD cop who just wants to crack our heads. Such a funny movie.
It's a good time. It's just like scene after scene after scene. It just ups the ante, like you said.
Even in the beginning, Vivica Fox is saying to Trey that there are no positive black females in his movies. Remember that.
Yep. Oh,
they spoof everything. Even if you see, they put in text at the very beginning. It's like 1 out of 10 black males will be forced to sit through at least one growing up in the hood movie, and 1 out of 5 will be shot in the theater while watching it. You're like, what? What did I just say? And that just sets the tone. You're like, okay, what is this all about? And then it's just crazy.
Yeah, you're right. That opening did set the tone because it's so funny. It's cliche, but like, even talking about some of the movies that we're talking about, but yeah, I've seen a lot of them. So I was like, yeah, you're right. But
it's actually truth to your experience.
Yeah, it's like a rite of passage. Like, yeah, that actually did happen.
I did have to sit through these hood movies.
Yeah, it's funny because people joke about it, and growing up in certain areas, if you say you've never seen any of the movies, like it's like you'll get that Friday reaction. Yeah, everybody's talking about Menace to Society. You're like, you know what? One movie I've never seen, Menace to Society. And it's like the whole crowd is like, dang.
Like the record just starts scratched off. Like, the room goes silent.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was a good time. What do you guys think about the music? I liked it. I liked some of the music there.
It's great.
Yeah, the soundtrack is great.
Yeah.
I remember when that soundtrack came out. It was a good one. Like one of my favorite songs from that era. My favorite R&B songs is in that movie. Don't Be Wasting My Time. I used to play that song all the time. I still do. But like, yeah, the soundtrack was great. I definitely remember that. It had a lot of bangers on it.
Yeah, Ghostface Killer, Lost Boys, Mobb Deep. A lot of the artists on R. Kelly was on there.
Yeah.
I think Eric Sermon from EPMD.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It was good. I didn't own it, but I definitely enjoyed the music.
I didn't know it either, and I was definitely enjoying the music.
I didn't have the soundtrack, but like most of the songs that were on it, I had because from DJing, and they were heavily in rotation because people wanted to hear them.
Yeah.
So I never really had the soundtrack because I had the single or the record here, the single, the record here, this single, that single. So I had all of the songs.
Nice.
So it's like, do we think it could be made today?
It's a good. I was thinking that. We always ask that question. I don't know, but because people being so much more sensitive these days, like I said, the shooting and the violence, especially when there's so many open wounds these days with the mass shootings we've seen, and especially and violence, within the Black community. I don't think it could actually.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one.
They almost don't have to make it again because the idea of spoofing these movies in that moment is kind of past. You have to spoof a bunch of different movies that happened since then. I don't know.
Spoof some more
8 Mile or something.
Yeah, but
even that was 20 years ago or whatever. That was a long time ago.
So I think the Wayans brothers did it right, and what was Bowman? They collaborate on the Scary Movie.
Yeah.
Series. So spoofing scary movies is less offensive. It's like, okay, we're joking about people being dumb, when they're being confronted, or just like outrageous, things like that. I think spoofing these days probably has to be on a lighter subject, just because of the sensitivities out there.
Yeah, either like lighter subject matter or something that's definitely not real.
Yeah.
Real life scenarios, you can definitely offend some people.
They may have to do this in space or something like that.
Right. They spoof some sci-fi or something. Like let's get a Star Trek spoof or something, or spoof for some Marvel characters. Which
maybe it's an MCU spoof they do this on.
That'll be coming up at some point. MCU spoof or spoofing of sports or entertainment industry or something that's like.
Yeah. You'd think, oh, we shouldn't be spoofing shootings and things like that. But shootings got more serious in the last 5 years or in the interim. So it's wild how that happens.
Yeah, for sure.
But if they did, they definitely should get Antonio Fargas to do something in it because he was great in this. As always.
Yes. Oh man. Hilarious stuff.
Old school.
Let's do our regular rating that we do. So it's either bring that funky flick back, or leave it in the vault. Boogie, what do you say?
Bring that funky flick back. I can watch this movie all the time, man. It's hilarious. Good stuff.
I know, right?
I say bring this funky flick back because you need to watch it 3 or 4 times just to get all the jokes.
This is very true.
Yeah. Also, I said bring this funky flick back. It was a barrel of laughs. I do want to watch it again and again, and I'm sure I will. It's a winner.
It's definitely a winner. Loke Dog had a New Kids on the Block poster in his bedroom.
I saw.
What was that about?
Yes.
There's a Black to the Hood poster and a Robo Pimp 3 poster.
Yes.
I saw the cereal boxes too. One was Wheaties, like
Wheaties.
and there was one that was like adult oriented. I didn't catch what it said, but
yeah. I saw that too. I forgot to put it on my notes.
Oh man, shout out to Towanda Page too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Old school's mom. You put him on punishment. He couldn't go leave the porch.
That's right.
Oh, she's such a gem. It's such a gem.
So good.
And Faison Love had a small part too. That we saw on Friday as Big Worm. He was at the, what was it called? Rufus's it's like oil change and fried chicken or something like that.
Yes.
Like pouring gasoline and serving up food. It was just a ridiculous atmosphere there.
Good stuff.
Yep.
So many things in this. My stomach hurts from laughing so much.
Yeah, I got like a little like pain here from just smiling. Like, ow.
Hip Hop Movie Club is produced by your HHMCs, JB, Boogie, and Dino Wright. Theme music by Boogie. Special thanks to Susan Berger, Towanda Edwards, and Allison Seneres. Hit us up at hiphopmovieclub@gmail.com or on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Hip Hop Movie Club. On the next episode of the Hip Hop Movie Club podcast, your HHMCs will discuss CB4, starring Chris Rock. Subscribe with your favorite podcast app, and you won't miss it.
And remember, don't hate, scintillate.
Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
It's so hard to say that without even laughing.
I saw something like it's the only movie that has 14 words in the title that summer.
That was one of their marketing.
Yeah.
Something like that.